Hey everybody, welcome to Fantasy Football Live. I'm TJ Jefferson, here with the fantasy consultant Nathan Zagora. We want to get you guys ready for week 7 of the NFL season by letting you know who you should start this week to ensure yourself some good fantasy success. So Nate, what quarterback do you have in mind for this week?
We're going to kick it off with Ben Roethlisberger of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Roethlisberger right now, only he and Peyton Manning have given you 300 yards or multiple touchdowns in every single game. He's leading the league with 1,887 yards passing, and on the season, he's given you 12 total touchdowns. On a per-game basis, that's 315 yards and 2 touchdowns per game. You got to like that. This week going against Minnesota, 28th against the pass, giving up 270 yards and 1.5 touchdowns per game. And over the last 2 weeks, they've been even worse, giving up 769 yards and 4 total touchdowns. So get Big Ben in there and enjoy that new spread offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I like that. And I'm also going to throw TJ's 2 cents in there and let you guys know that you should look to get Jay Cutler. And here's a little bit of surprise, but I'm going to say it, Matt Ryan against the Cowboys. I look to put them in your starting lineup as well. Now to running back. Which running backs are you liking this week, Nate?
This week at running back, I'm liking Thomas Jones of the New York Jets. I wasn't big on Thomas Jones at the beginning of the year, but you know what? The guy is impressing me. He's getting it done. Thomas Jones right now on the season, 5th in the league in rushing, 3rd with 6 touchdowns, and he's coming off a game in which he rushed for a Jets record 210 yards on 22 carries against the Buffalo Bills. Now Jones goes against the Raiders, who are giving up 143.5 yards and 1 touchdown per game, both 6th most in the league. Jones getting it done against everybody. Right now, 50% big game rate. That is first among running backs. Jones going against the Raiders, get him in your lineups.
I like that. Next up, wide receiver. Which wide receivers should our people out there look to have in their lineups?
You know, this week we're going to go with Donald Driver of the Green Bay Packers. Driver right now, he really is the #1 receiver in Green Bay. It's not Greg Jennings. Driver, #1 in targets, #1 in catches, #1 in yards, #1 in touchdowns. And those are the most important things. Oh yeah, for fantasy football, he's #1 in fantasy points. This week he goes against the Cleveland Browns, struggling against the pass of late, giving up over 400 yards last week to Ben Roethlisberger, and they've already allowed 4 touchdowns to opposing #1 receivers on the year. Driver, kind of a similar skill set to Hines Ward, who went for over 150 yards and a touchdown last week against those very same Cleveland Browns. So get Driver in there and enjoy.
What did happen to Greg Jennings? That's a question that...
He dropped an easy touchdown last week.
Amazing. Is he still relevant?
He's still relevant. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Buy him on the cheap right now. Sure, he's relevant.
There you have it. All right, tight end. Which tight end should we be looking to start this week?
Heath Miller on fire for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Roethlisberger, start of the week at quarterback. Makes sense his tight end is going to be a start of the week. Minnesota has struggled with good pass-catching athletic tight ends, and that's what Heath Miller is. Vernon Davis over 70 yards and 2 touchdowns against them. Jermichael Finley over 120 yards with a touchdown against them as well. Miller himself red hot. He's caught 35 of 40 targets this year. That's most in the NFL. The guy's absolutely on fire, and he's getting you touchdowns. He's scored in 3 straight games. Look for him to make it 4 in a row this week against the Minnesota Vikings, who are struggling to stop opposing tight ends.
I'm just going to throw TJ's 2 cents in here. Jason Witten, not a surprise, hasn't been playing that well, but I've got a feeling, like the Black Eyed Peas said, that Witten's going to come up big this week.
I couldn't agree more. Greg Olsen had his best game of the year last week against those very same Atlanta Falcons, so I think Witten in line for a big game as well.
Just a thought. How about defense? They win championships, maybe not fantasy all the time, but they should get you some good points.
They certainly can help, and this week I'm not even going to give you the reasons why. I think it's pretty obvious. Indianapolis, if they're on their waiver wire, coming back off of the bye week, going against the Rams, get them and start them. And then the Green Bay Packers shut out Detroit last week. Now they get the Cleveland Browns, who are struggling on offense. They've allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing teams, so I think you want the Pack in there.
Well, there you have it, our starts for week 7. For the fantasy consultant Nathan Zagora, I'm TJ Jefferson. We'll see you next week on Fantasy Football Live.
Good luck, everybody.